Welcome to Thrones and Scones. It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk Game of Thrones over... what meal? I think it's breakfast. Does that sound right?
Sounds right to me.
Sounds delicious.
Well, then we must be in the right place. It's Tony, Hans, and Jeremy in with you, hitting Season 2, Episode 7, and... apple. A scone without flavor and a man without honor. It's the double dose today. We'll of course hear about the baked good a little bit later on, but let's talk the episodes. Season 2, Episode 7. We're kind of in the middle of this slog, as it is, really just kind of setting things up for what's gonna be a pretty fucking big push later in the season. But where did Episode 7 sit in your guys' hearts and minds?
I think it's actually a good point. It's not the pace is a little slow, but I still think there's some really good things that happen. Just to remind the viewers, hit us up with that sweet wiki.
Oh, I was all ready. I had my phone in my hand, and then I put it in my pocket because I was so satisfied with that intro.
Yeah, no, that's
good. This wiki is one of my personal favorites because it's just phrase, semicolon, phrase, semicolon. There's really no effort, no transition. So I'm gonna read it like a computer because I think a computer wrote it. Jamie meets a distant relative. Dany receives an invitation to the house of the undying. Theon leads a search party. Jon loses his way in the wilderness. Cersei consoles Sansa. That's it.
Sounds about right.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know if it's the very first thing that happens in the episode, but it is the first thing I thought notable enough to, well, make a note about. A boner joke. She pulled a knife on me in the night. From Ygritte.
Yeah.
Kissed by fire and potentially Jon Snow.
Potentially. Not a big fan of Ygritte. Not a big fan. I'm just going to throw that out there right away.
Like now or ever?
I just can't get past... I don't know. I just can't. She's just not interested.
Well, you don't get a really good idea where her loyalty is, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like...
You don't know if she likes him or if it's just more like another layer to the complexity of the wildlings.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the actress does an okay job. I just feel like the accent's a little thick. And I don't... It just seems a little forced. I don't know.
I don't even think I've ever seen Rose in an interview or anything like that. I wonder what her actual... I assume she's British.
It's a good question. I don't know.
But she could be Irish or Scottish or what have you. She is Mrs. Jon Snow now, as of, I think, last year.
Mrs.
Spoilers.
Mrs. I don't mean in the show.
I don't either. I know.
Isn't that their real name?
Yeah. Legally, they had to get him changed. The Queen demanded it.
Yeah.
She's a big fan.
And when you say
show.
Queen, are you referring to Beyonce or?
Yeah. Well,
she is the only one.
Yeah.
Or Aretha. I mean, you could go that way as well.
You think Beyonce is a Game of Thrones fan?
I don't think that Beyonce has ever watched television.
Really?
I think it's a medium probably beneath her.
You know? What do you think?
Don't you think that she's holding on to some sort of weird fourth dimensional type of entertainment that we couldn't even begin to understand? She's in one of those sensory deprivation tanks on DMT, and it's like the water is like kind of vibrating, and there's these weird jellyfish that are like eating away her hair. That's probably what Beyonce's about.
Do you hear that? What? Your tone of your voice. It offends me. You will leave this place forever.
That does sound about right.
Would you guys rather be knighted by the Queen or by Beyonce? I mean, Beyonce can't knight people, and we're not British, so we can't be knights, but...
Removing those small barriers.
Yeah.
Do you have to be... You have to be British to be knighted?
I think so, because don't you think some American would have been knighted by now, or some non-Brit?
That seems kind of...
I assume you have to be a citizen of the United Kingdom. Okay. I guess I shouldn't say British. Let's see.
That's kind of racist.
Okay, Google. Do you have to be British to be knighted?
According to Mental Floss, Notable non-Brits are only eligible for honorary knighthood, meaning they aren't allowed to add.
So you can get knighted, you can't be a sir or a dame.
Okay. I was
Which,
going to
by the
say,
way-
because then that was a big plot hole in Parks and Rec. When Andy and the other guy, what's the other guy's name? I'm blanking. Andy gets knighted, and then Leslie's husband.
Oh yeah.
His real name's his real name's Adam. What's his name in the show? God, I've seen this.
Ben.
Yes, Ben. I was gonna say I've seen this show like 10 times. I don't know how I could forget. Cones of Dunshire, baby.
We are so all over the place today.
Well, let's return to Game of Thrones. Let's see. Somebody who probably deserves to be knighted, not for their actions, but for their investigative ability alone. Apparently inherited from his captors somewhere down the road. Theon Greyjoy, runner-up for World's Greatest Detective, finding almost a needle in a haystack. Instead, some tiny walnut shells in a haystack.
In a haystack.
You know he's rubbing those together. He's thinking, "Got you."
He's smelling them and getting tracks are lighting up in his mind. Making some interested decisions in this one. Do you guys remember if you thought that he actually killed Bran and Rickon the first time you watched or read this bit?
Yeah,
I think I did. Again, I thought I was thinking about this actually. I think about this a lot when rewatching the show because again, this is the first time I've ever rewatched it, so I'm kind of having those thoughts and like wondering what I thought the first time. Now that I kind of know how things play out, and I think I did think he killed them, but I do remember thinking it was weird that they didn't show it in a show that pretty much shows every death and gore and all that stuff. And I mean, they even showed they didn't show it exactly, but they even showed, or at least were present when the baby was being killed. So it would be weird that they would off-screen kill the kids, I guess, is my thought. But
now, I have a note here that says, as we move into what has been our favorite location of season 2, Quarth.
Oh my goodness.
And my notes just say, Pyat Pri, 100% creep. Zaro, 100% creep. This isn't the episode where they have that coup, is it?
Yeah, this is where
This is?
Yeah, this is the end. It ends. I thought it ends this way.
So do we not see
Doesn't it show, like,
Karth in the next episode?
No, we do. We have Karth in the next episode, but isn't this where it ends? We're showing the dragons being carried up.
no,
That's how the other one. That's how 6 ended.
that's
right?
how the last one ended. This one in Karth, we get the I guess 10 throat slits.
Yeah.
11?
No, because the House of the Undying creepy dude Anzaro's on Daxos.
But there's 13, right?
Oh, is it
It's
13?
11.
So it is 11.
No, it's 13.
You're right.
So 11 people did.
You're right.
Okay, so that is this one.
That is this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, you think I would have written something about it? That's kind of like the first notable thing that happens in Karth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's such a boring scene.
Yeah.
I mean, even that, I was like, oh, I can fast forward
I
through
didn't
this.
think that scene was boring. I think every other scene in Karth is boring, but that one
More
wasn't
like
too
it's
bad.
so creepy. It's just
Also, how do you say that guy's name? Zaro
Zoan Doxos.
Zoan Doxos. Okay. What's
Sounds
the
like a printer company.
And you said it already. What's the House of the Undying guy?
Pyat Pri.
Pyat Pri. Pri's an unfortunate last name.
It's
because
not great.
Isn't it when Zaro and Pyat, they make that agreement to make Pyat king? Isn't that what they kind of agree on, that they
to make Zaro king?
make Zaro king? Oh yeah. That's right. Never mind. Zaro king. Good.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm just confused. Either we don't see Karth in the next episode, or what the hell happens there? Because
it's very brief because they're talking about going to the House of the Undying and what that means, right?
that's it. They spend an episode doing that. That's why Karth is so stupid boring. Is they don't know pacing.
Yeah, no, there's very.
This is
poor
like a
pacing with this
massive. This is a massive left turn in the plot, and then they spend the next episode just going like, "Well, what should we do?" Oh, that's right. Danny and Jorah have their fun soap opera moment of, "If you loved me, you'd get my dragons back for me."
Yeah, Karth sucks.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but
Yeah, no, I agree. But we do actually get to go to the real good stuff. The Harrenhal, where we get Arya again, Arya and Tywin, which is some of the best stuff I think in the show right now, especially with their dynamic. And we brought that up a little bit, but again, like that whole tension that we see there, where we don't know how much does Tywin really know about Arya's background, the whole highborn, like, you know, she's a lady, but she should know these things. And I think we talked a little bit about her comments back to him. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, we touched on it before. He cannot know who she is, but he's got. I'm just left wondering how much he knows, how much he thinks he knows.
Yeah, well, like who does she? Because he doesn't believe anything. Like, he doesn't believe what she's saying, and it's right. Very evident that he understands she's not. But I do wonder who he thinks she is, and obviously one that we may never know. We only got one season to find out, and for some reason, I don't think they're going to prioritize that.
So here's the thing, and it is getting a little ahead of ourselves, but since we're on the subject, to make the case that maybe Tywin does know who she is, or at least more than he wants to let on, does he lie to Arya? In the next episode when they're talking and he's like, they're talking about going to Casterly Rock, and he's like, we're going to ride at night. And then Arya leaves, and then she sees him, and they're leaving then, so they're leaving right away. And then, spoiler for later in the season, they don't go to Casterly Rock. So is he throwing her off a trail? Does he think she's going to blab or something?
Yeah, that is interesting, because why would he say that that's where they were going? I don't know. That's a good point. A lot of nuance there. Interesting things. Could just be a plot hole. Who knows?
What was the letter, though? What did it say specifically about movements?
Honestly,
I didn't pause it to read it. It said something about Robb Stark.
Was it Robb Stark's location? I think it was like his location.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm trying to remember if that was the actual truth. I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, those scenes, though, with Arya and Tywin are just so good. And I think probably like ode to the actor and actress. They really nail those scenes.
You know what? I don't mean to. We've tried very, very hard on this show to give props to the actors and everything. I think most people are in their elements on the show. I will say, Maisie Williams has one of my favorite overall performances from the show with her portrayal of Arya. I have not liked her in a single thing outside this show.
Do you think you're just a little jaded because you're so used to her being this character, or is it really?
Maybe
it's hard to say. You can't.
She has a run in Doctor Who, and the first episode that she's in, she's a very similar character actually, and it still just kind of feels so wrong and
feels
different.
Forced. Yep.
But I think this show has like kind of a kiss of death because. Yeah. Really? Who has had a solid performance since this show? Like, a really notable one. Emilia Clarke's been in some big movies, but they've all kind of been okay. Kit Harington's been in a couple big flops.
So are you saying you don't like Captain Phasma?
Shit, that's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing.
3 minutes of screen time.
Yeah. I mean, we've said that Jaime Lannister should be playing Geralt.
Yeah, that would
have been such a better decision.
I don't know how I feel about Superman. Super Geralt.
Super Geralt.
Oh, what's the
Hope we get to see his penis. With a fake mustache on it.
Yeah. Oh, I just hope we get some CG hair in that show. That'd be so good. Or no, wait. CG. I want him to have a beard the whole episode, but just have it CGI removed.
Yeah.
The whole series.
Of course.
What were some other things that you guys enjoyed? Did you? What did you think of Cersei? We talked a little bit about this in the sense of her kind of like she has a rough episode. She shows a lot of like being, I think, fragile would be the word I would use, right? I mean, she talks about the weight of Joffrey being a complete asshat on her, and maybe it's that all of this is her fault. The complexity and God's wrath because she and Jamie had some twincest.
Yeah.
She's got this. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say she does bring up the whole twincest thing, but apparently she's not too worried about the cousin cest.
Nah,
no big deal.
Nah.
No big deal.
She's not pregnant.
She ain't pregnant.
No big deal there.
You think Cersei?
You gotta.
How old is Cersei?
I have no idea. She was 19 when she became queen. Robert's been king for 15 years when the show starts, so 34.
Okay, so she could still have a baby.
She can still bang him out, yeah. And he even says that in later episodes. Tywin brings that up to her. Okay, you can still make some babies.
In what? Where are you at now,
That's a good
Jeremy?
point.
Probably season 7?
Season
Yeah.
5.
You gonna be lapping us soon?
I am. Must circle back around for one more run.
Cersei is. I mean, I know she's still got 2 kids around, but she's like empty nesting kind of hard, just latching on to Sansa and Tyrion and everybody who she's previously pushed away to just get any sort of emotional connection.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's just using this season to kind of try and make us like her a bit more, or what? Because I feel like that's kind of a trend this whole season, not even just this episode, where they really show the vulnerable side of Cersei.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mentioned this. I really feel like that you often hate her, like you don't want any role or part of her. And I think in this episode, she tries to suck you back in with some true emotion, and then sabotages you. Right, just kind of completely undersells those things. And I think it's just good writing. It's just really enjoyable.
We also get a super famous. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I pretty much just straight interrupted you, and
That's cool.
Totally sidetrack. If you want to, do you have anything else?
No. Give me the straight famous.
Sorry, I just we got a pretty famous quote in this episode too. You guys probably a super famous quote. Hot with the memes. You guys want to take a guess at what quote this is?
Oh my gosh! I gotta think here. Hot with the memes.
Who says it?
Well, if I say that, it's going to give it away.
Okay. Trying to think.
Could it potentially be?
Is it with Jamie?
It's not that little.
No.
That's all I got. That's not even this episode. I think that's the next episode.
It's not me, Lord.
No. We get our first. I guess I don't know if she says this again, but we get our first. You know nothing, Jon Snow from Ygritte.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Yeah, you're right.
Hot.
Is that this one or next one?
Nope, that's this one.
You know nothing, Jon.
I can't do
you're
that.
right.
I can't do the Ygritte accent, so I'm not even gonna try.
You know nothing, Jon.
Damn it nailed it.
Killed it.
God.
Cut it. That's it.
Also, Sansa had an eventful episode in which she became a woman. Sansa's what? 15?
She's a late bloomer.
Is that what's the plot? And it's hard to keep track because everyone is much younger in the books. Like, I'm pretty sure Rob is maybe 14 in the books. And obviously they can't do that in the show. They kind of got to upscale.
Gotta upscale
Wouldn't
things a
make
little
any
bit.
sense.
I'm going to look this up, how old Sansa is.
What do you guys think about that?
I thought she was 10 or 11.
So I can't say that I, deeply understand a woman or a girl's path to womanhood. And I don't know if you, I don't know if you guys
Do
have
tell.
had, I don't know if you guys have had your first blood yet. But, and maybe I'm naive, but that seems like a lot.
It did look like a lot of blood.
That was through the clothes, through the sheets, staining the bed. It was a lot. Whether it's your first or not, I don't know. But
it was all white.
Man, all that down feathers all coag together.
Maybe we'll get for our next bonus episode we'll get a girl guest on the show and just talk to her about that.
Just
do
for
explain
45
your
minutes.
cycle.
Yeah. No preface though. Don't warn her it's coming.
Yeah.
She had that like nightmare where she got stabbed by those rapists.
Oh,
so do you
yeah.
think maybe that scared her and then she like sneezed out the whole week's worth?
Yeah. Anyway, I had the I don't know. I had the unfortunate pleasure of watching this episode with my lovely girlfriend. And as a woman, she said absolutely no way that is just ridiculously overselling. Like, that's too much. That doesn't make any sense. But that's
it does look like someone was murdered in the bed.
That's one woman's opinion. I have no idea. But hey, she's got the blood of the first man, so maybe it's just over all that time, it's pent up. Who knows?
The Starks are hardier stock. It would make sense that they, maybe they bleed a little bit more. Who's to say?
Yeah,
I'm surprised, or flowered, as they like to say.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't save the episode title "Fire and Blood" for this one.
That would have been, or Bad Blood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad. I don't know if we see any fire. That's the only thing.
T-Swift.
A massive Game of Thrones fan, I'm sure.
I hope so. I'm a massive T-Swift fan. So,
T-Swizzle, love her. And then finally, just to hit on this because we haven't touched on it, my favorite part of the episode is Jaime in captivity, then out of captivity, and then back in, and we get to see him being more charismatic than he's ever been. Really, kind of playing the field with his own cousin. Well, that's not what I meant.
But I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it past him.
Sister, by the way.
Yeah, and I think Jaime might be just as convincing as Tyrion, just as convincing as Tywin. Like maybe more so than any other Lannister. I just don't think he has the drive to actually do anything with it, except now when he wants something.
Yeah, and he even says, he's like, "You played this into the perfect hand for me. Thank you." When he's talking about his cousin coming in so he can set up his escape. And I think, that's... At this point, we think we haven't gotten enough of Jaime to go, where is he for his mind? I mean, he's been now arrested or kept for quite some time. And every time Rob's coming up with his wolf, I'm like mind fucking with him. So, I don't know. It's a good thing. I mean, I think it's another step towards you can see like the Stark kind of like camp falling apart of who's really leading who here. So
yeah, and that brings me to probably my favorite part of the show. Kind of a subtle moment, but I think just an excellent little moment. Jaime, he does the classic in out in captivity, right? So then when he's back in captivity, he's tied up a little bit more, and he's kind of getting in Catelyn's there, Brienne's there. He's kind of getting in Catelyn's head, and I think this is where she even says like, "You have no honor," and everything, and says all that, and then Jaime basically says like, "Oh, and Ned had so much honor," and then he says, "What was the name of Ned's bastard son?" And Cat, visibly upset, just turns to Brienne and says like, "Brienne," like telling her to come over, and Jaime goes, "No, that's not it." Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Always the witty guy, right to the end. Good old Jaime.
And now that we've
great moments.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about kind of the entire episode now, coming back to the title of the episode in the sense of the man without honor. I mean, who do you feel like, if you were to choose one person that it more relates to? What do you think?
I think that on a very surface level, it's supposed to be Jaime. I mean, we get the "oh, they said it" moment of Sansa, or of Catelyn rather, telling him like, "You're a man without honor," and then he kind of rebuts that and goes into this sense of how he does have honor and in his own way, and maybe in ways that even she would recognize. Just isn't seeing it for what it's worth. Or isn't seeing past the very obvious terrible things that he's done. But I think that the true man without honor in this episode is probably Theon.
Yeah, I think that's obvious.
I would also, and I forgot this one scene in the area with Sansa and the Hound. She is getting, I mean, their kind of relationship is developing now, and he's always kind of watching for her. We've seen him kind of be there to be both a protector, but also kind of watch some of the shit that happens to her. But he calls into the point of like, look, you've got to get used to violence. You're going to be marrying this psychopath, and you need to understand that. And she's like detesting the fact that he's involved with her, while also wondering where his own honor lies. And I think that's kind of interesting as well, as maybe it's the Hound. Look what he's done in the last couple of episodes as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
He likes to talk about death a lot in the coming episodes.
Yeah, he talks about fighting. That's all he talks about.
There's some strange...
People love killing.
Some of those come out of left field too, and I don't. We'll talk about it. But anyway, I do want to mention too. I know coming in a little late, but what a good monologue from Jamie when he's talking about honor and his whole stance on that. That's some good stuff. Jamie, what's that actor's name?
Nikolai Coster-Waldau.
I'm a big fan.
He's a good dude.
I think he's done some.
Like good dude.
I think he's done a couple. I saw him maybe on a picture for a Netflix movie or show or something. I think he has done some other things, but I have not seen any.
I haven't seen any either.
So,
what I did see this episode was a very brief glimpse of a booty. Of course, in honor of our favorite actor, Clint Teatswood. We've got the good, the bad, and the jugglies here. Quaithe was hanging out in Karth amidst all the boring stuff and just painting this woman, painting her butt. And that's kind of all we got for our good, bad jugglies action today.
So thanks for bringing that up, Tony. When I first watched this, and maybe again, it's just because of my lack of interest in Karth. I'm sure I just was not even probably paying any attention. Thought it was a dude. So I'm very sorry to whatever.
I mean, it could be.
I'm very sorry to whatever lovely female actor or male actor that is, but I don't recall.
I feel like I saw a side boob.
Yeah, and I would assume it would make more sense that it was a woman. But I don't know.
At this point, could have been.
And again, I'm thinking you're correct, because I don't know what they do in Karth, but there was not a lot of hair. So I'm assuming that was a woman. But I've been mistaken before. I actually believe in one of the previous episodes, I didn't say it because I was embarrassed. But when we were talking about the man getting ripped apart in the mob in King's Landing, I was confident that was an old lady. so
it could have been.
I'm starting to think that I'm maybe just not watching these episodes. Who knows?
Well, I hope that you're at least eating the scones so that you're at least 50-50ing this episode. Jeremy, I think you had the scone today.
Yeah, and so again, bringing this apple scone, which I got at Fresh Time, which is a local grocery store here. Again, the good thing about this local grocery store is they're organic. They get some good things in.
Wait, real quick question. Jeremy. Would you say it's more apple or more scone?
Oh, it's definitely
Good
more
question.
scone, because there's only just a few
So it's
slivers of apple.
Apple flavored scone versus like a scone flavored apple.
That'd be weird.
That'd be weird.
It'd be interesting though.
Would be like an apple that you dipped in like biscuit batter and then like cooked it that
Makes
way.
sense.
Yeah, like a baked apple is what it would be.
I think we're getting
guys,
I'm getting the indication that we're running out of time here.
We literally
Totally
haven't talked about this at all today.
We do have our social media, though, where we can always have more conversations. At Thrones and Scones on Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram as well. Of course, you can keep up with us. You want to find the links to everything, thronesandscones.com, and you can find us wherever you like to listen in to podcasts. We'll catch you tomorrow for Season 2, Episode 8. Are you down with G-O-T?
Yeah, you know me.
How did you guys feel about recording that episode for the very first time?
It was good. Although I felt like, do you guys ever feel like you get this? You ever feel like you like that kind of weird deja vu feeling?
Yeah, that lasts for about approximately 31 minutes.
It's so weird.
31 minutes.
It's just so bizarre. It's weird.
It was odd. I have no idea what could have possibly caused that.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, some of those lead-ins, it sounded like we had rehearsed or maybe had done those in the past.
Or I like when Jeremy goes like 10 times to the episode. Jeremy goes, we already talked about this, but which we didn't talk about in this episode.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe we're all Starks, and we shared a dream last night.
It was.
Through the eyes of our prospective cats, because we don't have wolves.
Well, like I was gonna bring
True,
up in the whole conversation where she has that dream and then she bleeds. I feel like people, when they have their the wet dreams, or when they pee themselves, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to the restroom," and then they wake up and they pissed all over themselves. It's like, no shit.
Is that what a wet dream is for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What dream are you talking about?
You still have wet dreams, Jerry?
Oh, every day.
Every day.
I think wet dreams are a little bit more sexual.
Oh, is that what that is? Man,
I think so.
So wait, Tony, are you saying that peeing is not sexual? Because I had a wet dream last night. Shit the bed.
Oh. Was it good for you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know me. No, but anyway, so I do have one other thing to say. So I'm thinking we got to get in this board game market. I was talking about this earlier. What Scones of Dunshire? Brought to you by Thrones and Scones. Patent pending.
I mean, can you even figure out the rules of Cones of Dunshire, or do we just not bother and we make up our own scone-related ones?
So, Tony, you're forgetting the most important rule, and the only rule that matters. It's all about the scones.
It's all about
Scones.